Hey Nerdy Westies. Today I want to talk about something that I see way too many dancers in our community struggle with. They feel like all they do is learn and practice, but their West Coast swing still isn't improving. They feel stuck and frustrated. They want to do better in competitions, and they want to enjoy social dancing more. They wonder what they're missing, what's really holding them back. If this happens to describe you, today I want to help you understand 4 things that could be holding you back from becoming a better West Coast swing dancer. Problem number 1, concepts may be getting lost in translation. Problem 2, your eye isn't trained enough to see what your teachers aren't saying. Problem 3, your internal body sense isn't refined enough for you to feel when something is or isn't working for you. And problem 4, you don't have a greater context to put the concepts you're learning into. This leaves you unable to deepen your understanding or discern which techniques and styles are right for you, your body, and your unique style as an individual dancer. Let's start by diving into the first roadblock, the idea that the concepts you're learning may be getting lost in translation. There are infinite ways to describe human body mechanics, and there are further infinite ways to describe dance mechanics. But unfortunately, there's probably a finite number of ways for you to understand your own body mechanics, and further finite ways for you to understand dance mechanics in your own body. Being a good dance teacher requires the ability to close this understanding gap with simplicity and speed. A scenario I see a lot in the West Coast swing community is students struggling because they don't have a solo dance background. This isn't because they need this training to be able to move properly, although that does certainly help, but rather these students don't have a deep understanding of dance terminology. When a teacher says to ground yourself, do you know what that actually means? When a teacher says to settle, do you know what that actually means? When a teacher says to prep for your turn, do you know what that actually means? I could spend all day giving you examples, but hopefully you get the point. As teachers, we're limited by the amount of time we have with our students, and we want to teach as much in that time as possible. But no matter how small of a concept we're teaching in a given amount of time, there is always much more that can be said about that concept. Always, and often lots more. One of the ways teachers save time is by using common terms that convey a lot of information at once. Ground yourself here, settle yourself there, prep yourself here, connect to your partner there, balance yourself here. If you feel stuck in your dancing, even though you devote a lot of time to additional training and practicing, you may think you understand what these terms mean. But I want to challenge you here. Do you have a deep, functional understanding of each of those terms and all of their complexity? Ask any dancer you look up to, and I bet that they'll say they are still deepening their understanding of these and other basic concepts. I know I am. Are you? And don't even get me started on the common metaphors used to describe common dance movements. Drop your center? That sentence is very unhelpful unless you already understand what it means. And then there's the problem that each of these and all the other basic terms can mean something different based on the context in which they're used. Which brings me to the second roadblock that could be holding you back in your dancing. The second problem is that you may not be able to see what your teachers aren't saying. When a teacher says to ground yourself, do you know what that means in this context? When a teacher says to settle, do you know what that means in this context? When a teacher says to prep your turn, do you know what that means in this context? Due to a combination of time constraints, class level, and assumptions about students' existing knowledge, teachers always leave out information when they teach. Always. They're not bad teachers. The problem is that it's literally impossible to say everything their students need to hear in the time that they have with them. And this is why it's crucial as a student to train your eye so you can see in your teacher's demonstrations the things that they don't have time to say. And don't even get me started on newer teachers who have a tendency to use the wrong terms altogether when they're trying to explain something. But that's a separate issue. Training your eye helps you learn better from world-class instructors, and it also helps you learn better from instructors who don't speak your language, less experienced instructors whose dancing you admire, and your favorite dance videos. Another thing that could be holding you back is that your internal body sense isn't refined enough for you to know whether or not something is working in your own body. In addition to our 5 senses, sight, touch, etc., we have an additional sense called proprioception. Proprioception is the sense that allows you to know where your body and its parts are in relationship to each other and 3-dimensional space. Close your eyes for a second and ask yourself, where is my right hand? Where is my right hand in relationship to my left hand? How far is my right hand from my head and in what direction? Proprioception is a crucial sense to develop as a dancer. For example, here are just 2 of the many reasons why proprioception is important. 1, it's easier to counterbalance yourself when you can sense internally where your body parts are in relationship to each other. And 2, do you have the ability to tell what line or shape your body is making without the use of a mirror? As dancers, we train in front of mirrors in part to train our proprioception, so we can purposefully recreate positions and movements without a mirror later on. When learning something new, or when learning something that's different to what you're used to, it's really important to be able to use your body sense to discern whether you're accurately replicating in your body what the teacher is both saying and demonstrating while you're in their class. And also to discern the difference between replicating the concept in your body correctly and incorrectly, so you can self-correct when you practice. Combining a robust foundation in dance technique with your body sense allows you to make informed choices about your dancing as an individual. Which brings me to the 4th and final roadblock I'm going to be discussing today. Roadblock 4. You're missing a greater context. Let me ask you something. Which do you prioritize more? A, dancing correctly and/or right, or B, developing yourself as a unique individual who utilizes technique and style to be more you when you dance? Put another way, are you adding more and more swing content to your dancing all willy-nilly? Or are you intentionally using swing content to dance your dance? Furthermore, when you're learning, are you able to distinguish between fact and opinion? The best teachers make this distinction for you, but sometimes you do have to make this distinction for yourself. In order to make this distinction for yourself, you need both a strong foundation of dance knowledge and a strong sense of what's right and wrong for you and your body in technique and style. Your deep knowledge helps you distinguish fact from opinion, and your sense of self helps you know what to integrate into your dancing and what to leave out because it's not right for you. Because at the end of the day, becoming a great dancer involves 2 main things. 1, depth of understanding and ability, and 2, intention. What are you going to use that depth of understanding and ability for, and why? Do you keep learning and learning so you can increase your understanding, so you can make better choices about your own dancing? Or you feel like you're stuck, or that you might be doing something wrong? Do you believe that some instructors are more correct than others? Do you bounce from teacher to teacher searching for what's right? If so, you're kind of missing the point of dancing entirely. And I'm not just talking about West Coast swing here. So let me ask you this question one more time. Which do you prioritize more? A, dancing correctly and/or right, or B, developing yourself as a unique individual who utilizes technique and style to be more you when you dance? I hope after hearing me talk about all this, you'll start prioritizing the latter. So let's loop back to what this means for being a better student of dance and of West Coast swing. When you're taking a lesson, can you place what you're learning in a greater context that is both relevant to your depth of understanding and your ability to make intentional choices about your own dancing? This ability is another skill to learn and master as you go, and it's crucial to your ability to grow as a dancer. So there you have it, the 4 reasons why you could feel stuck in your dancing. Reason 1, concepts might be getting lost in translation. Reason 2, your eye isn't trained enough yet to see what your teacher isn't saying. Reason 3, your internal body sense isn't refined enough to know when something is or isn't working for you. And reason 4, you don't have a greater context to put the things that you're learning into. This leaves you unable to deepen your understanding or discern what techniques and styles are right for you, your body, and your unique style as an individual dancer. At this point, you might be asking yourself how you can solve these problems in your own dance journey. The first step is to be aware of them. And just by watching this video, you've made a step in that direction. The next step is to start asking your teachers questions that speak to these problems. This not only enriches the conversation between a student and teacher, but it helps the teacher teach you better. And if you've made it this far in the video, you may be wondering, is there an easier, faster, simpler way to solve these problems? You may have already noticed that I'm pretty passionate about this topic. I just felt inspired to basically write an essay and share it with you all. My teaching partner, Alicia Marshall, is also really passionate about this topic, and the only reason why she isn't here today is because she's working really hard editing some video content for our Patreon members. Alicia and I created and built Nerdy West Coast Swing to fill this gap in West Coast Swing education, to empower dancers to become better students of dance and of themselves, so they can learn the technique and skills they need to make informed and intentional choices about their own dancing. You may have already gotten a taste of this when watching one of our free Nerdy West Coast Swing episodes. If you haven't seen one yet, I'll put a card above linking to a playlist of our previous episodes. In each episode, we analyze one or more videos of high-level West Coast swing dancers to help our students and you train your eye. And then there's our Nerdy West Coast Swing Patreon. This isn't your run-of-the-mill West Coast swing training. We intentionally designed our Patreon to fill in the 4 gaps that I discussed in this video, and then some. We've created a structure that teaches concepts in depth so you never lose them in translation again. Trains your eye to effectively identify these concepts when you see them in action, as well as identify the subtle nuances of how those concepts are affected by the context in which they're used. Teaches you how to deepen your body sense, your proprioception, by making it crystal clear what to pay attention to in your own body to know if you're doing something correctly or not. Separate fact from opinion to help you make intentional, informed decisions about your own dancing. And because Alicia and I really are true to our name, we are West Coast swing nerds through and through. We are dance nerds through and through. We didn't stop there. Really, everything you learn at Nerdy West Coast Swing helps you become a better student so you can learn more and learn more effectively from every other teacher you take from. Imagine how different your dancing would be if you only got 20% more out of every other lesson you took. That's what filling in these gaps can do for you, and you can increase your effectiveness even more than 20%. And then, as we've all noticed, there has been a surge in online trainings for West Coast Swing in recent months. They're all wonderful, but we understand that not everybody has either the time and or the money to invest in all of these trainings. So we have very specifically made our Nerdy West Coast Swing Patreon inexpensive and also low in time investment. Really, you're only spending maybe 10 to 15 minutes a week with our material. And last but certainly not least, our Nerdy West Coast Swing Patreon is designed for all levels. As long as you know the basic patterns, side pass, underarm turn, sugar push, whip, you can participate in our Patreon and get a lot from it. Through September 30th, 2020, our Patreon is only $25 a month. On October 1st, the price is going to go up to $35 a month. All you have to do to sign up is go to www.patreon.com/NERDYWCS. The link is also in the description box below. And if you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a future episode of Nerdy West Coast Swing and all the other incredible things Alicia and I have planned for you. If you only take one thing from this video, I want it to be this question, which I've already said twice, but it's really important, so I'm gonna ask it again. Which do you prioritize more? Dancing correctly or right? Or developing yourself as a unique individual who intentionally uses technique and style to be more you when you dance? Thank you for watching. Talk to you later. Bye. And further finite ways for you to understand dance mechanics in your own body. Biz!